In this video, we're going to be finding the initial value and the x-intercept of a function that is written as a set of ordered pairs. So in order to do this, we need to know what it is we're looking for. The initial value of a function can be found by looking for the place where the domain value is 0. So in an ordered pair form, it'll look something like this. You'll have 0 for the domain, and then some number for your range, and that number, whatever is right there, is going to be your initial value. For the x-intercept, which is also called a root or a 0, for the x-intercept will be just the opposite. You'll have some domain value that's paired up with a 0 in the range. So when you see a 0 in the range, the domain value is the x-intercept. The initial value, which is also called the y-intercept, will have a 0 in the domain and will be interested in the number that is in the range. So in order to find these from a set of ordered pairs, what we want to look for are zeros. Anytime you see a 0, you're clued in that you're going to be on one of these two. So we go through and we look for any zeros, and wham, there's one right there. So that 0 is in the range, so it matches this right here. So the -9 that's associated with that 0 is going to be our x-intercept. So I'll write that over here, that our x-intercept will be equal to -9. Because again, the x-intercept is the number that is associated with a range value of 0. Now we want to look for a 0 in the domain, and we don't have one. So what we want to do is we want to find the slope of this, and we want to use the slope to find what that y value is going to be when x does in fact equal 0. So to find the slope, we look at how the domain is changing. It's going up by 1, so that's very convenient. This means that whatever y is changing by is the slope. And so we can see that here it goes from -2 to 0. It increased by 2. We have an increase of 2 here and here and here. So our slope is going to be 2. And what this means is I can write down just a couple of these points. And -6 and 6. And what I want to do is, now that I know that the y is increasing by 2 every time x goes up by 1, I'm going to write some new ordered pairs and keep going until I get my domain value at 0. So here I've got -7, -6. Let's go with -5. That's increasing the domain by 1. Every time the domain goes up by 1, the range is going up by 2. So it goes 4, 6. So this would be 8. My next point would be -4. This goes up by 1. 10. This goes up by 2. And I just keep going, increase the domain by 1 and the range by 2 until I get the point I want, which is going to be this point right here. So I just had to extend the pattern out until finally, at long last, I find that 0 for my initial value. And so 0 for the domain, so the range is 18 for that, so my initial value is going to be 18. Now the good news is I'm introducing here what is a worst case scenario. It is far more likely that you're going to have this available without having to go through all these gymnastics. However, now you know that it is possible to find your initial value and x-intercept no matter what, as long as you can figure out the slope of the function. So again, initial value is the range that goes with a domain of 0. The x-intercept is the domain value that goes with a range of 0.